So, welcome once again to the Ghana Internet Governance Forum 2019. And this forum seeks to bring together various sectors who are interested or associated with the internet in Ghana for us to have what we call a multi-stakeholder engagement, in which usually takes through presentations, interactions, and also question and answer time. And as you see from our panel, it's a very diverse panel, and we are coming from various sectors of the economy and of the internet. And we are here to also engage for the improvement and development of our internet in Ghana. This morning, we would have our opening ceremony, and to begin our opening ceremony, we would like to have some opening remarks from our hosts here at the Kofi Center of Excellence in ICT, in the person of the Director General of the Center, Mr. Kwasi Adu-Gyan.
Good morning, Honorable Deputy Minister, my colleague ICT in the industry. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the Ghana Internet Forum 2019 at the Ghana Indian Kofi Center of Excellence in ICT. I am indeed grateful to the organizers of this forum for choosing Ghana Indian Kofi Center as the venue. I've had the occasion to work with organizers, most of the organizers of this forum in various capacities. And trust me, beyond their expertise and competencies, they are a bunch of good men and women. We are fortunate to have the support of great champions and sponsors in the line of Microsoft, Main One, Media Foundations of West Africa, and many others whom I hope I will be privileged to meet during and after the forum. Additionally, I would want to welcome the media practitioners attending and covering activities here at the forum. Ghana Indian Kofi Center of Excellence is your home. Feel at home. The forum theme is Digital Communities, Roles and Responsibilities of Stakeholders and Sustainable Development. Who are better placed than Dr. Quaynor, the man I looked up to and got a lot of inspiration from when I first arrived in Ghana in 2003. He's one of the pioneer migrants from the ICT industry in the United States. At the time, no one wanted to come to the country when ICT professionals were at our highest. He sought to return home. He, I think, is highly placed to address this occasion. Dr. Asafu-Aidoo, I see his name among the list. He is somebody who mentored me when I was a senior advisor at the Ministry of Communications on policies. I think he is well placed to hear him speak to us as stakeholders. And my own younger brother, Asafu-Aidoo, and Sabre Asante. For so many years, Sabre has been moving in and out with persistence and perseverance. Free and open source software has become a reality in this country. We indeed will hear a lot of our responsibilities as stakeholders today. Fellow ICT colleagues, you will agree with me that sustainability is not that common in vocabulary as it means, either in the past or present. Because it doesn't make sense to us as a people. We develop ICT solutions, build ICT infrastructures, and even procure hardware, all done without acknowledging the fact that there must be a sustainability. For the many years that I have worked in the industry, both Ghana United States, and Asia have never come across a software or systems solution designed, developed, and implemented all within a period of 4 months for users exceeding millions of people. But here in Ghana, we see it happening. I don't know how they do it. It is therefore not surprising that at the end of such implementation, it becomes necessary to array our top people, including politicians, to do firefighting, to guard and protect solutions we have developed. Instead of our solutions fighting for us, my colleagues, we pass the buck to politicians or people in higher authorities to defend our solutions. Our colleagues, my colleagues, this is dangerous to our industry and bad to our country, and this must stop. If we take our time, do our work well, develop robust solutions, go through process and procedures for testing and quality assurance, we will spare everybody the time and the hand of fighting for us, when indeed we should be making our systems, our solutions fight for us. Responsibilities of stakeholders for sustainable development should be taken seriously if we intend to develop homegrown software and ICT solutions for the country. There might be a conscious effort to follow processes, procedures, and methodologies for the design, development, and implementation of our solutions. The solution will take years. If this is what it will take, so be it. Let's have patience to test and pilot our solutions. Permit me, dear colleagues, to speak to a couple of initiatives that the Ghana Kofi Center of Excellence is putting in place and empowering the industry in its journey towards achieving sustainability. As you may be aware, the Ghana Kofi Center have expanded. We have established 2 more centers within the last 2 years, one in the Middle Belt and another in the Northern Belt. In the Northern Belt, we have Boygatanga Center, which is established. Its focus is software technologies. We have built a research and resource center for free and open source. We are collaborating with the Ministry of Technology in India, CDAC, to develop homegrown solutions for the country. Currently, we all know how much it costs us to renew licenses or to obtain Microsoft licenses. It is very expensive. The Ghana government is spending a lot of money. We are developing a solution that will be used for the Ghana education service within the next year. We should come up with our program. We also established quality assurance and testing facility here at the center, not only for public sector, but also for private sector. We hope and we believe that this will create the enabling environment for private sector to develop robust solutions and help grow the software industry in the country. Some of the software one of our operating systems we have developed, we call it NOS, which is Asafu operating system. It's going to be used for education. It's going to be used for MMDs. We are working seriously, and we hope within a very short time, we will be able to have some of these things developed. Before coming to the close of these remarks, I would like to remind you that a strong ICT industry requires a strong private sector. It must be private sector driven with strong knowledge and competence. We must ourselves protect the industry. We must form alliances and partnerships, consortia to work together on bigger and proper tasks and projects. Iron sharpens iron, as the scripture says. We must unite with a common vision to develop homegrown ICT solutions to accelerate economic development of Ghana. We at the Kofi Center of Excellence in ICT are open to PPP arrangements and agreements in research and development. Bring your ideas, let's brainstorm and develop solutions for the betterment of our country. I sincerely hope you will enjoy today's discussion and networking. Thank you all for participation in this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Teacher. At this moment, we would like to call on the chairman of the Ghana IGF Organizing Committee 2019, and also the executive director of the main registry, Nana Kofi Asafu-Aidoo, to give his remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adu-Gyan, our very wonderful host. Mr. Adu-Gyan has been very, very cooperative and helpful during the organization of this IGF, and I thank you very much for that. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Deputy Minister Sowah Odotei, Internet Hall of Famer, Professor Nina Quaynor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I consider it a great honor to address you today on this 4th IGF, following the maiden Youth IGF, which was held yesterday. It may interest you also to know that by coincidence, our counterparts in Nigeria chose to hold their youth and main IGFs on the same 2 days as we did, even though there were no prior discussions between ourselves or the two secretariats. I would like to take time out to thank Honorable Sowah Odotei, especially today, who took time out of his busy schedule to grace this meeting with his presence. The Honorable Deputy Minister, like the Minister herself, has continued to show great support in all matters affecting the internet in this country. And Honorable, we got you on very short notice, and we really appreciate your presence here. I stand here today as the National IGF Coordinator, not by chance, but because my organization, the Ghana Domain Name Registry, serves as one of the essential pillars of the internet in this country. For those who may not be aware, by an act of Parliament, the Electronic Transactions Act, the registry was established with a mandate to be the custodian of the .gh namespace in Ghana. Currently, the registry is undergoing some processes, and it will pursue policies and practices that will seek to involve the local internet community and multiple stakeholders in policy making and other matters in time to come. The GDNR, therefore, by its very nature, is deeply involved in the development of the internet in Ghana. And as such, when the time came for the IGF to be held, it was a no-brainer. Though we had very little time, myself and a core team of the GDNR staff and ISOC put together a fantastic team of committed individuals to do the best we could in the time we had to hold this event. And as such, under the auspices of the Ministry of Communications, the GDNR, in partnership with ISOC, is hosting the 2019 Ghana IGF. It will also interest you to know that this year in Berlin, in November, the global IGF is being held under the theme One World, One Net, One Vision. And whatever we discuss and decide here will eventually feed into that. The internet has had a long and checkered history. The United States government started this project in an attempt to fortify the digital communication systems by building networks that could be resistant or resilient in the face of eventualities or attacks by the Soviet Union in the Cold War. Around the late 60s and early 70s, Robert Kahn and Vincent developed the TCP/IP protocol, which formed the basis of the Internet. And as such, the Internet was born. The Internet has then grown over those years and continues to grow and take various forms. Right now, it's been reported that about 50% of the world is said to be on the Internet. And with the improvement in technology and availability of bandwidth, the number is set to grow to about 80% in the next 5 years. In Ghana, the NCA reports that by the end of December 2018, the total subscriptions for 2G and 3G mobile data were 26 million, with a penetration rate of about 88%. And that's not to mention 4G and other modalities of accessing data over the Internet. The GSM Association has also reported that in 2015, information and communications contributed 3.1 billion with a B to Ghana's GDP. And this shows a strong growth from 2006, when it contributed just 483 million. It has been reported that half of just as the world is increasing in its uptake of the Internet, the uptake of the Internet is also growing very fast within Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, it is abundantly clear that the Internet is here to stay. Unlike anything else ever created before or since, it is ubiquitous, dynamic, and ever evolving. This means that there will always be the need to make policy to address the issues arising out of its never-ending rapid evolution. With such ubiquity and accelerated growth, it is not surprising that in 2005, the World Summit of the Information Society in Tunis proposed an Internet Governance Forum. Paragraph 72 of the Tunis Agenda called on the United Nations Secretary General, our own Kofi of blessed memory, to convene a meeting with regard to the new multi-stakeholder forum to be known as the IGF. The first ever IGF was held in Athens, Greece in October 2006, and once it began, it has been held on an annual basis. Over time, it became obvious that most issues on the Internet that had to be dealt with were of international nature, i.e., they cross borders. And as such, there was a need to address these issues at a local, regional, as well as international levels. In Ghana, the first IGF was then convened in 2011 by our own Prof. Quaynor in 2011, and subsequently we have had Internet Governance Fora in 2015 and 2016. I have no doubt in my mind that these fora have played their part in contributing to some of the positive changes we've seen in our Internet ecosystem today. And I am very hopeful that our discussions will also lead to more positive changes. The World Summit of the Information Society defines Internet governance as the development and application by governments, the private sector, and civil society in their respective roles of shared principles, norms, rules, decision-making, procedures, and programs that shape the evolution of the Internet. When we look at this definition, it is easy to see why it is more relevant today in our country than ever. In the current world, professionals of all kinds must create, store, retrieve, and transmit data across the internet. It goes without saying that multiple sectors, and not just people from the IT sector, need to be represented in this forum on a regular basis. And that's the only way, as a country, we can keep pace with technological changes and make it a point that we regularly host or hold this forum and bring the benefits of the internet to our country and to ourselves. It is in this vein that the 2019 National Ghana IGF was convened under the theme, Digital Communities, the Role of Stakeholders in Sustainable Development. We live in Ghana in a time where we find ourselves caught between two rates of growth. On one hand, the internet is yet to reach every corner of the country and is yet to be affordable enough that everybody can use it and have its effect. On the other hand, we must keep abreast, or I dare say surpass, new developments such as 5G, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, Internet of Things, and yesterday I actually had one of the youth talk about augmented reality. These technologies are quickly emerging and quickly changing. A lot of work needs to be done, a lot of decisions need to be made. And even with artificial intelligence in particular, ethics of how to use artificial intelligence must be discussed and decided upon. As such, in convening this IGF, we chose topics that seek to address some of these issues and answer questions like, how do we make the internet more affordable? How do we take the internet and its benefits to the far ends of the country? How do we analyze and usefully use the tons of data produced by our daily work and daily use of the internet? How do we better protect our privacy and digital space while expressing ourselves freely online, as to be seen from the earlier discussions? How do we keep track of emerging and evolving technologies? What has been done and what else needs to be done? These and many other questions will be raised and debated by you. And I hope that by the end of our deliberations, we will come up with productive recommendations to add value to the network that we all love and use. Have fun and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Asafu-Aidoo. At this moment, we would like to call on Mr. Adomey, our legal collaborators from the Internet Society Ghana chapter.
Thank you. Honorable Deputy Minister of Communication, Director General of Ghana India Kofi Excellence in ICT, Executive Director of Ghana Adomey Registry, and Chair of Ghana IGF Steering Committee, Ghana Youth IGF Coordinator, our friends from the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It gives me a great pleasure to, on behalf of the Internet Society and the Ghana chapter, welcome you to the 2019 Internet Governance Forum IGF. This year's IGF marks the fourth IGF that the Internet Society Ghana chapter has been associated with since the inception of IGF in Ghana. In 2011, the Internet Society Ghana chapter took the initiative with support from Free Software and Open Source Software Foundation for Africa to organize the first multi-stakeholder IGF in Ghana at the same venue under the auspices of the Ministry of Communications. Subsequently, the Ghana chapter convened the forum jointly with the Ministry of Communications in 2015 and 2016. This year, the chapter is continuing with the tradition and is jointly convening the 2019 forum with the Ghana Domain Name Registry under the auspices of the Ministry of Communications. Ladies and gentlemen, With its vision, the internet is for everyone. The Internet Society believes that everyone who uses the internet must be part of the decision making for the governance of the internet. The Ghana chapter has been driven by the vision to co-convene the Ghana IGF Forum to bring as many people as possible in the internet ecosystem to have an opportunity to be part of the discussion on the governance of the internet. Inspired by its mission as to promote the open development, evolution, and use of the internet for the benefit of all people throughout the world, the Internet Society works with countries and communities partners to support network development, interconnection, and internet traffic exchange, as well as training individuals who can build and maintain the internet infrastructure in their regions. Additionally, the Internet Society supports Africa and West Africa IGFs. Inspired by the vision of the internet, the Ghana chapter has been instrumental in developing capacity of the technical community through its Ghana Network Operators Group Keynote project, which has trained over 200 people in engineering and scalable management of the internet infrastructure in Ghana. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the UN Secretary General's Multi-Stakeholders Advocacy Group MAG has selected 3 major themes for the Global IGF 2019 program, which are data governance, digital inclusion, and security, safety, and resilience of the internet. These themes dovetail into several sub-themes. The Ghana IGF 2019 Planning Committee has carefully selected the themes that are relevant to our local context to enable its forums discuss exhaustively local issues and to present a country position at the West Africa and Africa and global IGFs. I invite you all to contribute in this deliberation to feed into ongoing policy development by the Ministry of Communications for the development of the internet in Ghana and for reporting at the sub-regional, regional, and global IGFs. The Ghana chapter is committed to the development of the internet in Ghana, in which all stakeholders present a fruitful deliberation around the theme. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kwasi. At this moment in time, we want to recognize our sponsors. Microsoft, EcoBank, the National Communications Authority, Main One, NIMTA, that's the National IT Agency, the Internet Governance Forum and Support Association, Media Foundation for West Africa, MTN, E-Crime Bureau, and our able partners, the Ghana Domain Name Registry and the National Cybersecurity Center, the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, and the Internet Society. So, we've all heard about the history of our Internet Governance Forum, and for the first time in Ghana yesterday, we had the Youth IGF, because we recognize that the youth are the future of the country, and in all our deliberations, if we are talking about multi-stakeholders, we also need to also hear from the youth, and they are our engine of growth, and most of these developments which come out are usually coming from that sector. So they had a forum yesterday, and we would like to call on Mr. Stephen Donko to also give us a brief report from their forum yesterday.
Thank you very much. I'm really humbled to be on the same panel with the Deputy Minister of Communication and the Director General of Quaynor, the Father of Internet, the President of ISOC, and the Chairman of the IGF 2019. I'm here to present the communique from yesterday's event, the Youth in IGF Forum. At this maiden edition of Ghana's Youth IGF Internet Governance Forum, held on Wednesday, 10th July 2019, at the Kofi ITC Center for Excellence on the theme, The Future of Work, Digital Jobs, Youth Inclusion. About 128 participants were present, and the following objectives were discussed. Among these decisions, 1, to raise awareness among youth. I'll take that again. To raise awareness among young people and new entrants about internet governance issues, to promote their participation in their decisions with focus on Ghana. 2, to groom the next generation of internet users who can create digital jobs. 3, to bring together people from government, civil society, business and other stakeholder groups to interact and explore common grounds around the public interest-oriented approach to internet governance. 4, to build a new career of internet leaders who are motivated to learn, engage, and act in Ghana, the West Africa region, and beyond. 5, to mobilize Ghanaian youth to participate in ICT development and policy beyond internet governance specific topics. 6, to partner with more organizations to improve the participation of youth internet governance decisions. Having succeeded in realizing these objectives in the vibrant deliberation that took place and recognizing their invaluable contributions from diverse participants, we, the youth, note that the importance of organizations more forums for the youth to build communities for sharing of knowledge and networking. We also recognize the need to create a balance between education and skills, and the importance of engaging in mentorship programs to shaping our skills in all career endeavors. The following are the issues and decisions that participants wish to communicate to the government and other stakeholders and people of Ghana. 1, the future of work. Concerning the fear of job losses due to engaging new technologies. Concerning the fear of job losses due to emerging new technologies and robots taking over jobs, we, the participants, note the redundancy in workforce is not new to our generation and is inevitable. It is therefore important for us to develop individual skills to become versatile and remain relevant wherever we find ourselves. We, the participants, also recognize the importance of harnessing our skills to take advantage of the job opportunities that will emerge due to the growth of economies of Africa and Ghana in particular, where we can create our own jobs and offer employment to our own people and create our own wealth. Child online protection. The participants noted the following: the children and young people are championing the cause of technology with the use of internet and are vulnerable due to the bad guys who are using the internet for antisocial purposes. The importance to ensure the safety of children in the ecosystem and the need for all to put their hands on deck to ensure the protection of children against online abuses and harassment. The need to understand online issues and educate the children on them and using the smart approach so that they do not fall prey to predictors of child abuse. The parents and caregivers should teach their children to accept friendship requests from only people whom they know in real life. We also had a panel discussion. So during the panel discussion, the participants took of the following: the importance on the use of adopting digital technology to enhance their jobs, policies to guide and protect individuals involved in digital jobs by governments and the necessary regulation bodies was noted. The importance of youth joining communities and engaging in volunteerism in these communities to increase their knowledge and sharpen their skills. The need for youth to ground themselves in their area of expertise to gain recognition and credibility. The importance of investing in technology to become relevant. Youth inclusion. On the issue of youth inclusion, we, the participants, advocate the following: the introduction of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics by the Ghana Education Service to all school people and students in Ghana, especially in less privileged areas, to prepare them for the future, as well as to incorporate the incorporation of STEM into the basic curriculum. To gain the requisite technology knowledge and skills. Awareness, creation, and education of parents and grooming. I'll take that again. Awareness, creation, and education of parents and grooming children to prepare for STEM. Youth putting themselves as volunteers to enhance their skills. Youth giving back to society by training and mentoring the younger generation. Change in our education system to have more contact hours for ICT. Change in mindset and culture to embrace and positive sides of the internet. Digital jobs. With regards to digital jobs, the following were also recommended. Digitalizing the work we do by using tools such as research, advertising, e-commerce, and e-learning. Youth to become innovative in using technology in their field of work. They need to create local content, network with other people in the digital work, develop specific in-demand skills. Conclusion. We, the participants, urge the Minister of Communication to continue supporting the Ghana Youth IGF and associate follow-up processes. Before I step down, I want to take the opportunity to thank the Ghana IGF planning community, the Ghana Domain Name Registry, the Internet Society Ghana chapter, for actually helping and supporting our forum yesterday. We also want to thank all the partners that provided materials and financial resources, namely National Communication Authority, Microsoft, Media Foundation for West Africa, E-Crime Bureau, MTN Ghana, and also our greatest thanks goes to the Ministry of Communication for the support in hosting the forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As the youth have given us their report, it's always good to also hear from our father of African, the father of African internet, Professor Nina Kukuni.
Good morning. Thank you. Honorable Minister, Director General of Kofi Annan Center, Executive Director of the Domain Name Registry, fellow colleagues, I feel humbled in a way for the good regard that you keep showing to me. But I can say that I did what I thought had to be done. Leaving the US, as has been cited, that early, when I was actually one of the hottest on the market for what we call systems, had to have had a bigger mission, which was to address the digital divide, which at the time nobody knew about, but people like me. So I'm grateful that the little that we're able to do is being appreciated, maybe delayed, but I thank you very much for that anyway. For me, it's a pleasure to make these remarks at the National IGF. I recall the National IGF in 2016. In my welcoming comments, I underscored the importance of having regular National IGF meetings and taking the global IGF home, so to speak. So I commend the organizers for successfully organizing another National IGF this time. The practice of multi-stakeholder bottom-up policy and standards development by consensus is used in the internet technical community globally. Adopting this practice in internet governance benefits the overall policy environment by reaching larger and more diverse contributors. This is encouraged because the days when all the needed expertise can be found in one organization or company or team is gone. Every issue you touch jumps quickly to some other area. Touch freedom of expression, you be in law. You touch law, you be in technology. You touch technology, you hit civil society issues. And you heard them all mentioned from ethics and so on. So it's really very complicated. For complex issues with the internet technology, and especially public policy, it is futile to entertain any sense of self-sufficiency. This was underscored through the WISIS process, which led to the establishment of the non-binding, and notice the word carefully, non-binding Internet Governance Forum, a forum for all stakeholders to exchange ideas, to, in some soft way, evolve their positions. We have to admit that a consensus process where issues addressed are more important than votes. Issues are more important than votes, in the sense that I wouldn't want to call how many people in favor of this and raise your hand, but I rather want to say, on this issue, have we addressed it? Then we will cancel the issues, and when there are no issues left, then presumably everyone can live with the outcome of that document that we are producing. We prefer to deal with meritocracy, meaning have the merit of your debate stand and prevail over vote democracy, or for that matter, autocracy. There is need for inclusiveness and diversity when using the permissionless technology as the internet. And in particular with the internet, everyone owns their part of it. From the user who owns his part to the provider who owns his network, different from other providers, all the way down the chain. Which means each of them have different policy domains. Maybe in my house, I share my Wi-Fi with everybody, and so on. I control that. Within the network, there are different policies that control that. And that is what forces us to go to the multi-stakeholder approach, because you can't fiat it, you can't just dictate it. Different people own different parts of their network. And so it's very important to appreciate that. And therefore, I'm very grateful that the National IGF is exploring this approach to, let's say, governance in general. I was fortunate to have been a member of the first multi-stakeholder advisory group of IGF that was formed by late Kofi as the UN Secretary General. And we organized the first meeting in Athens in 2006. Of course, that time our concerns were narrow. We really just wanted to keep the system growing, because you can imagine there were tensions between the telcos, the technical community, business, government, let's say government because of public policy, and civil society because of the civilians. And so our focus was more how we keep moving forward. And having said that, The important thing is that the IGF tries to avoid decision making in the sense that it wants people to come together and share ideas or share new things, whatever they wish, and then each other takes what they want. Almost like exchange point from the technical community side of things, in that you are not coming there to make any decisions. You come there only to exchange traffic. That means I give some things to you and you give some things to me. I may not like all the things you give to me, but the part I like will influence me, will help me to behave differently. And that is a very important attribute. In other words, if you remove the binding part of making decisions, it becomes easier for you to arrive at situations or things that look like there's consensus. And I think we should practice that. Now, at this point, I'll just comment on a number of things that interest me or appear in the process. The multi-stakeholder approach goes beyond the internet. Imagine you are looking for a policy on clean air, but instead of a few experts, it's a few that you can obtain to make decisions or recommendations for policy. You actually reach out to a larger, much larger, more diverse, more disciplines, and have them address the issue before it reaches policy. In other words, there's a difference between community being used as consultants, being consulted. It's different from the community itself trying to derive what may constitute potential policy. And within the latter, where the community itself is coming up with potential policies, actually helps governance immensely, because you don't have to deal with all the nuances of working out what are the most important priority things to address. At the same time, you don't have to deal with believing that the people you have are the best in the world, because they are not. They will never be. You are better than the few of us. You are much better. You may not know it, but trust my word, that is the case. Another point that I'd like to mention here is that it is very real that policies lag behind technology. And that's not the practice. And so don't be in a hurry to regulate or make policy. Okay? Rather be in a hurry to identify potential policy advances or technology advances so that you can stimulate them to see what are they made of. Will they be any useful? It is when you are certain that they are going to be useful or not useful or impact society, then you want to get involved. And that's extremely important. Otherwise, you twat the whole development. You just miss the whole show. The internet arrived in Ghana around 93, and it has since been going through its own changes, but generally it's been successful because we still use it, we still depend on it. And in my case, the folks who started the internet actually did become the leaders of the telco networks. So even though we as a company did not survive whatever the challenges we had at the time, the leaders of that organization became leaders in many of the telcos and many of the enterprises. And I like to, at this moment, thank them for their struggle against what we call technical colonialism. In other words, if they had not moved to the internet here, you could have been denied. And if you are denied, that means that those who have that technology can use it to dominate your market. So it's not a small achievement to have people who defy everything just to make sure you have the know-how. And I think they deserve some commendation in that regard. I'd like to touch on the following issues as well. We need to find ways to make opportunities for the local industry, because the local industry are small. We are all SMEs. Okay? And as SMEs, if you ask us to go and contest for the large jobs, we just don't make it. Even the bank guarantee for these things alone is just too much. Okay? Meaning, when you do a sheer count of the volume of work to be done, for a government project or a large enterprise project. None of us qualify. Okay? If you end up giving the jobs to large multinationals. And I think that means that we will never develop the capacity. However, we should consider this other approach that one may engage a large, experienced multinational or whatever, local. That is very familiar with how to develop these solutions. And they rather are supposed to break down the projects into smaller pieces. In other words, they become the integrator. So they design the smaller pieces, and then we compete for the smaller pieces, which then can be integrated by the larger organization. In other words, if you don't give us energies, we will not develop our expertise. We will talk about it. And you know why? Because by the time we finish talking about it, the big guys would have come and they will take the whole market. They will take it. Because they are just too good. Okay? And it takes you too long. You know, these things are based on man years, man years of development. Okay, and we are small, maybe each of us is less than 20 persons or so. And 20 persons working with a project is just 20 man years. These guys are talking thousands of man years. So, I mean, you got to jump-start it by finding some solution around this. Another issue here, you know, it's easy to go and procure so that you can say you have this, you have that. That's very easy. That one, you throw out a tender and you go and you get the best. But if you do that, you will continue to do that. You will continue to procure every 3-4 years. But our things expire. They expire not because the machines don't work. I have machines which are old but still work. But because the features they have are not sufficient to use them to work. So these things expire. And if you have things that expire, then don't procure, don't acquire. You have to develop. Then you have a system that continuously enhances. Okay, and if you have a system that continuously enhances, then you are likely to make small progress every time. And you don't have to make a major acquisition of solution all the time. So it's something that one could contribute based on the discussions that I'm hearing. All this is driving towards the idea that we have to own our information society. If you read through the theme of all the IGF, it's telling you that we should have our information society. And if we are having an information society, then means we must maintain some semblance of control of that information society. And the only way you can have that sense of control is to be a major supplier of services in there, not just a market. So if you're a market, somebody else will determine what you buy, what you do, and so on and so forth. So philosophically, we should be striving to find out what it takes for us to own this information society. What does it take for us to say we own our internet, as an example, and so on. Now, I've said this yesterday, let's beware of saviors, especially foreign saviors. You know, it's very easy for someone who wants to help you to make you think that he's coming to save you. Okay. But nobody can take care of something that you own, your information society, better than yourself. Nobody can. And I think in our own language, we have statements and proverbs to that effect, that the guest is not able to take care of your home better than yourself. Okay. So it means that we must be in a position where we can tell the Savior what exactly we want for help. And sometimes these saviors, they also want to remain saviors forever. So when that happens, then they actually prevent you from learning, they prevent you from acquiring the knowledge. That's why we talk about technical liberation. Technical liberation. You have to liberate you technically, okay, so that you can choose what you want, not what you are told. And it's a major concern. Of course, in my mere closing remarks, they wish that I make a comment on freedom of expression, but I had a chance already to make those comments in the session. But nonetheless, I will summarize my position the following: that there are two halves of this discussion on freedom of expression. There is a half that says that it must be free, and there's another half which says that without infringing on somebody else's rights. Okay. So it means that if you have these two things, then you don't quite have the freedom. At the same time, it's all of the stakeholders involved in this who are responsible for maintaining this balance. And these balance are actually in the UN Declaration of Human Rights. Both of them are there, Article 19 and Article 7. Okay. So, but all of us are responsible with respect to the internet because of this nature for making sure that this balance remains, stable and good. Failure to do that has serious consequences, not only economic. It has social implications, it has political implications, it even has innovation or intellectual development implications. And we need to pay attention to that. Something that you do today will have effect decades later. The shutdowns of people who were doing VoIP in the 90s, okay, is what has resulted in there being no Ghanaian company in the telco business. And it goes on. So it may seem simple now, but it has long-term effect. And so we should do everything we can to, in some sense, resolve the problems long before it gets to that point where somebody or something has to be shut down. And like I mentioned earlier, if you get to that point, that means we've already failed. And so our job rather is to strengthen the prevention of problems and resolve them long before it happens. And the role I will see for all of us is to stimulate development so that we can own that information society. If we don't own it, somebody else will turn you into a market. You will not have any bit of a supply side. And then you will come back and ask, where are our Googles? Or where are our Facebooks? But I will talk by saying, you killed them earlier. Okay? And so let's come together and figure out how we can stimulate growth of all the stakeholders, okay, so that we can have a thriving information society as we wish. Policy in internet is global. Policy in internet is global. So we are not really going to be able to stay here and influence the global policies without participating in the global policy process. Okay? Meaning, if you don't have national ideas to develop and sharpen your positions on policy, you will not be able to influence the global anyway. But if you've had these discussions here and you know what are the troublesome knots in there, when you get to the global environment, you'll be able to raise them. Okay? And remember, in the global forum, the same as there are sharks here, there are sharks there too. There are people who are very familiar. Okay? I may be technically oriented here, but I have colleagues who are even more technically oriented out there. And so we can't just get up and go there and expect people to influence if we have not done our homework here. And that is really an important message that I would like to leave with you. Having said that, I really think that this is a good move, it's a good initiative, and we should do more than one. Okay, this business of once a year in preparation to the global IGF is wrong. You should maintain this continuously because you have to understand that this multi-stakeholder thing benefits not only the internet-related public policy, but it does in fact also benefit all national policies because you need the diversity of expertise, of disciplines, and also of roles. Of course, we should try to stay within our roles so that we can contribute the role portion of the things. With that, I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. I also want to recognize again our sponsors, Microsoft, EcoBank, National Communications Authority, Main One, National Information Technology Agency, Internet Governance Forum Support Association, Media Foundation for West Africa, MTN, and E-Crime Bureau. So at this particular moment, we'd like to call on our Honorable Deputy Minister of Communications, Mr. Vincent Sowah Odotei, to give us a comment.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. I'm sure all those who have attended programs that I have spoken I was reminded that I'm a member of Parliament for Land. I'm a proud Land, and Land is a place to live, work, and study. The best part of Ghana. So all those who are here who don't live in my constituency, please bring in applications, and I consider Wadisha, Laboni, cantonments as a part of that and trade fair for you. So you can hold me to that. Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning. The Convener Internet Governance Forum, Alpha Wolf Father of the Internet, my own Director General of the Kofi Annan Center of Excellence in ICT, Internet Service Providers here regarded, our colleagues from the civil society organizations, our colleagues from academia, our vulnerable colleagues from the private sector, our partners from the media, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the 2019 edition of the Ghana Internet Governance Forum, being organized under the auspices of my ministry, the Ministry of Communications, and other convenience that the Ghana Domain Name Registry, that's the agency responsible for the .gh, Domain Name Operations, and the Internet Society Ghana chapter. Since the development of the Internet protocol in the 1970s, the Internet's takeover of the global communication landscape has been phenomenal, and it continues to grow. The Internet has revolutionized the computer and communications world by setting the stage for the unprecedented integration of capabilities such as the telephone, radio and telegraph through services such as emails, video calls, and instant messaging applications. The Internet, I believe, has gone a long way to make our lives easier and better. This can be evidenced in government e-services like mobile money interoperability, e-passports, e-procurement, and many others. From its humble beginnings as a military setup, the Internet has evolved to become one of the essential resources ever known to mankind. The United Nations and the International Telecommunications Union, as the ITU, in the year 2003, attempted in the World Summit on the Information Society to outline action plans for the Internet. This was followed by further action by the same summit in 2005 in the Tunis Agenda. Paragraph 72 of the Tunis Agenda called on the UN Secretary General to establish by the second quarter of 2006 an open and inclusive multi-stakeholder policy dialogue on the Internet to be called the Internet Governance Forum, the IGF. The IGF, among other things, is to facilitate the exchange of information and best practices, discuss public policy issues, and identify emerging issues in the Internet and bring them to the attention of the relevant bodies. Ghana, as a member of the ITU, strategically aligned itself with the Global Information Society movement and organized its first local IGF in 2006, with subsequent ones in 2011, 2015, 2016. Over the past 2 years, the government of His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo has been repositioning itself to bring back the dialogue, which is the Ghana IGF, by incorporating all major stakeholders, such as civil society organizations, businesses, internet service providers, academia, and the general public. The theme for this year's IGF was digital communities, roles and responsibilities of stakeholders for sustainable development is aimed at harmonizing stakeholders' views for the proper use of the internet for development. I am very glad that the theme falls within the government's digitalization agenda of using technology for development. The government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Communications, has actively been working on improving internet access through the Eastern Corridor Fiber Optic Backbone project. This project serves the eastern part of the country that lacks communication infrastructure. The project is expected to bring development and improve the lifestyles of the rural people and all those living on the eastern part of Ghana from Aplau to Pana. Ladies and gentlemen, to enhance the design and development of world-class ICTs, the government again has created a Directorate of Research and Innovation, the DRI, at this center where we are, the Kofi Annan Center of Excellence. The DRI is to create a network of faculties, research centers, researchers, and connect with industry to enable staff and students scale up research-led ideas into real-world solutions and working technologies for the improvement and advancement of individuals, institutions, and the country as a whole. The Directorate will also bridge the critical gap between government and university-funded research and industry-led development and commercialization by providing support to a large group of early-stage innovative SMEs and support businesses. The Kofi Annan Center for Excellence also has a research lab to support the development of the Internet of Things in Sunyani, e-learning in Accra, and research in TV white spaces also situated here in Accra. In addition to that, the National Communications Authority has actively pursued policies for ensuring high-quality service standards in the telecommunications industry. The NCA have shown commitment in new and emerging issues such as cybercrime, with the establishment of the Network Operations Center team to handle computer incidents in its sector. Ladies and gentlemen, in the area of internet security, the Ministry of Communications has undertaken measures with the establishment of the National Cyber Security Center to facilitate security in the cyber ecosystem in Ghana. The government is currently reviewing the National Cyber Security Policy and Strategy and also drafting a new cyber security bill to facilitate security in the digital space in the country. To further promote the development of the internet space in Ghana, the government has established a Ghana Domain Name Registry to manage the .gh domain names. The GDNR is currently undergoing some transitional processes, after which it will assume its full responsibility as the manager of the Ghana Country Code top-level domain. Paramount among the GDNR's objective is the engagement of the local internet community to receive inputs on policy developments as the convening of this all-important forum, the Ghana IGF 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, I understand that the youth IGF held yesterday focused on the future of work, youth inclusion, and digital jobs. These, I believe, are relevant topics for this period in our national life. Discussions I'm told line up for today's forum include freedom of expression online, connectivity, cost and digital inclusion, data governance, emerging technology for sustainable growth and society, safety, stability, and resilience of the ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, as government is doing its part to ensure the right atmosphere for the proper use of the internet, we as a community should play our part as well. Those of us in academia, the ISPs, businesses, the public, to ensure that we contribute towards the development and sustainability of the internet. At this juncture, we should thank also all the sponsors for supporting this program and other programs that you have shown commitment to as we drive in our digitalization efforts. I would like to invite you all to actively participate in these discussions, make contributions, and ensure that within this forum, solutions are found to issues raised. Let me wish all of you fruitful discussions and formally open this forum. I thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vincent. Odotei, Member of Parliament, Kofi. Thank you so much. So, as we are about closing this opening ceremony, we recognize against our sponsors, Microsoft, EcoBank, National Communications Authority, Main One, NINTA, Internet Governance Forum Support Association, Media Foundation for West Africa, MTN, and E-Crime Bureau. So I believe most of us would have gotten a picture of what this Internet Governance Forum is supposed to be about. It's for us, it's about us, and it should be about us. So without much ado, I would like to bring this closing ceremony to an end, and would like to take a good photograph in the entrance of the ICT Center. Thank you very much. We're taking the pictures outside in front with our dignitaries. Then we break out for coffee. Coffee break for 30 minutes. That's to the extreme left of the building. So let's take the good photograph and we break for coffee.